Hey everyone, my name is Geneva Harrell, except I go by Shane, which is my middle name. My area of study is business administration. I hope with the help of some summer courses that I can graduate in December of this year, finally. My job position is I work at a tanning salon called Sunrays, and then just whatever I have going on throughout the day. I watched the interview with the baseball player, Austin, that our professor performed, and I found it really, really interesting. However, something that I found interesting that was related to data analysis and analytics and like numbers and the study of and the complexity of breaking down numbers was how much players and athletes broke down their own numbers, how they took their numbers for training and performance purposes, how they wanted to create the best, well-rounded, all-around player, not only for themselves so they would be best, but for their team. This is how they would benefit their team. This is how they would contribute to making their team better. And that's just why I found that part really interesting because, like a lot of people just think, oh, it's just a team sport, like there's however many people out there playing depending on the sport, when no, not really. Like each team member is responsible for their own self, like they're responsible for bettering their weak positions, for making up where they struggle so they can help their team. So if somebody gets hurt, they're like, oh, I can play that position, like I've been practicing, I've been getting my numbers up, and vice versa. One scenario that Austin talked about where data analysis was interpreted was after he watched the movie called Billy Being Billy. It was about a baseball team who was put together and kind of came out of the rough. Like they didn't have a funding, they didn't have a really strong budget, they didn't have a really strong community, and it was just kind of like a poor team. And but they turned into a winning team. They built themselves up. They studied themselves. They learned themselves. They learned themselves as a team. They studied their numbers, and they interpreted everything that they found into building themselves, and that's how they become a winning team. So I just thought that that part right there goes to show that it doesn't take money. It doesn't take the fanciest stuff. It doesn't take the best coach out there. Like it just takes people who are wanting to, and people who have tried, and people who are willing to know that they can get better and they could be better, and that they are never at their peak. They're never at their best. And he said that that's why he liked that movie. That's why he brought it up, because he liked the underdog part of the movie. And yes, very much so, this could be put into a decision tree, because like last week, we also learned about how sports teams use decision analysis and data and numbers during their sport. And so very much this sport, baseball, also can be put into a decision tree, because they can take their three best players and they can go, we're trying to find who will be the best pitcher for this week's game. Well, player A throws really fast, like he has really fast hard balls. Player B has the best curveballs. Player C, they're just a good pitcher, like they've been our pitcher. But we're going to go back to our numbers this week, and we're going to go, okay, player A, yes, he throws really good fastballs, but how are his curveballs? How are his spins? How is his accuracy when hitting the same spot every single time? How's his strikeout numbers? And we're going to look at those with all three players. And then we're going to go and we're going to find their percentages. And then we're going to find, well, who had the higher percentage in each category, and we're going to take those and see who's overall well-rounded for our game, for our team. And then this will also help that player to determine like what they need to work on, where they're struggling, and so on. So another situation that he talked about was when a team looks at their lineup for the game of that week, they want to decide their best odds to maximize their game. They want to play at the top of their game. Like, yeah, even though they're playing a team that they know they can beat, that's a weak team, they're like, we still want to play at our best. We still want to try to improve our numbers. We still want to see improvement with what we've been working on this week. And that's what he said. They based their decision on slugging and base percentages. And so he just meant like who was like struggling, who was like playing the bases the best. And like, this is how they pick their team. This is how they pick their hitters. This is how they pick shortstop, first base, third base, outfield, just pitcher, everything. Like, and then this is also who is the best well-rounded, inside, out, numbers, on the field, off the field, playing every position, being an all-around person, is decided who is team captain. And he said that he was playing for a small college and that he wanted to be noticed by professionals. And he was like, well, my college was small, like it wasn't a wealthy college, like I just knew that if I wanted to be noticed by a professional, I needed to learn to play different positions. And so he took his numbers and he found where he was struggling, where he was weak, where he was strong, what he needed to work on, and he took a lot of advice. Well, he needed to get his numbers where it would reflect his work, where it would reflect him as a player, reflect his strengths. And he only had a year to do it because he got cut short. And he did, and that's exactly how he did it. And in the video, he broke down how he studied his numbers. So a topic that is interesting to me is the sport of rodeo, because I've done it my entire life. And every decision in rodeo is used making decision analysis, especially when it comes to selling horses, drawing stock, and when selling horses, like, you see their family history, you see their record, how are they running, how are they winning, how are they performing, how are they taking to new things, and that's how you decide a winner. That's how you decide one who is on top. And then same way when you're drawing stock, like, you can have one calf in the pen who is super hard runner, runs straight down the pen. You can have one that runs left, turns back. You can have a weak one, which is just a little bit slower. And like, that's when you see, okay, so-and-so had this calf number and here's what it did. And people actually make notes on what the stock does, so they are better prepared. And everyone has a fair chance, because like, you can go and, just like when you play a team, you can go and see what your stock number is, how it performed, how they're playing, what its strong points were, what its weak points were. So how I would break down and build a decision tree with my sport is say that we are in the team open, because that's what I do. And you have, you're one of the last teams to go. So there's only 3 steers in the draw left to choose from. Well, steer A was a good medium steer, but it was just kind of soft. And then steer B was fast, hard running, broke hard. And then steer C faded left a little bit. So we're going to go down and we're going to look, well, how did this steer run the night before? And we're going to go, well, here's what steer A, B, and C did. And then we're going to go, how did it run when they run the first half of the steers? Like, how did it run in the slack? Has it run in the performance? Has it run so like wherever? And then we're just going to go and we're going to break down, like, well, this is the steer we want to draw. Even though you don't get to pick which one it is, you can still go through and look at its record and see like how it did, so you can better yourself when you're about to perform on this, which is called luck of the draw. So that's just how you can use decision tree to break down the percentages of how the steers do, or and it even goes with running horses. Like, it's the same way. Like, they can set up, well, this horse is here, this horse is here, this horse is here. Here's how it did last week. Here's how it did last night. Here's how it did in this arena last year. And we can just go, and this is how horse races are. This is how people bet on horses, and which horses will win and which horses will do good. That's just, and like, it's the same in every single sport. And it's crazy. Like, I never realized until our discussion last week how important numbers are into every sport, not just what makes the world go around. They are important in everything, and we need to study them. We need to learn them, not only for ourselves, but for our team, even if it is just a one-man show.